They say the best views come after the hardest climbs, and I would have to agree. What's the hardest thing that you've done in recent memory? Our lives are not meant to be lived within our boring comfort zone. And in this video, we're going to be talking about doing hard shit. So stay tuned. I don't know about for you, but for me, some of the most memorable, most exhilarating, most inspiring moments of my life were when I was doing something hard, something that might have seemed impossible, and I did it anyway. And then at the end of that journey, whether it happened or it didn't happen, you had a sense of knowing that it was freaking hard and you did it anyway, and you put your heart and your soul on the line, and you were a changed person because of that. So I want to ask you, what is the hardest thing you have ever done in your life? Think about it. And is there something that you are missing out on by not pushing yourself to do more hard things? If you were to live your life in such a way where you planned your year or your month by thinking, what is one hard thing that I am committing to doing, something that I don't necessarily want to do, but I'm committing to doing because it'll make me a stronger person, a smarter person, a kinder person? How would your life be different? For me, I like to set a hard goal every year. So at some point I'll talk about my planning process for the year. It's actually really intricate and very involved, but I have 8 goals, and of the 8, I usually, well, last year was 4, this year it's 8, and one of them is the hardest goal. But I want to talk about last year's goal, which was crazy. This year's is also crazy, but I think last year's was just, it was insane. So last year, my big goal was to run a 50-mile race. And so I had read this book. You guys know I love reading books. I had read this book, Born to Run. And during my run, I was listening to it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. These people who are running these like 100-mile races. And I thought, what if? And I think doing hard things allow you to play with the what if. What if I step outside of my comfort zone, and what if I allow myself to play a bigger game? And so I wondered, what if? I had done a what if for running a half marathon, so a half, and then I did it and it was hard, and then I did a what if for a full marathon, and then the next what if was for a 50-mile race. And so I thought, what would have to be true at the end of the year for me to be able to run 50 miles in one day, in one stretch? Who would I have to become? How would I have to grow? And the answer for me was, I would have to be super on my health game. I would have to be on my fitness game. I would have to be so vibrant and so healthy that I would have the ability to actually run 50 miles in one day, right? Like before, I think I would have thought about 50 miles in like even a year. That would have been crazy. And so doing hard things allows us to grow in ways that we are excited to grow. And so I think I started thinking about this goal the year prior. And so I had an entire year to plan, and you know, the end of the year was approaching, and then I started, you know, doing more and more training, and I found someone to run with me. And the day of the race arrived, and we basically planned our own race around Berkeley, because all the 50-mile races, the one that I had wanted to sign up for, was canceled, of course. And I was like, I am not going to be deterred. I'm going to do this race regardless of what happens. If you guys hear some noises in the background, that's my cat, Boots. So I was like, I will not be deterred. I am going to run this 50-mile race because I committed to myself. And I think that's the other thing. When you do hard things, you commit to yourself to become the type of person that would be able to do those things. And so I had committed, I found somebody that would run it with me, and the day arrived. And we started really early in the morning. I think it was like 5:30 in the morning when we started running. And you know, we ran our first marathon. Isn't that crazy? Like to say, like, we ran our first marathon, because you're basically running too. And we were exhausted, and we were tired, and we were hungry, and so we had a small break. We ate our burritos, and he's gonna be playing around, so I'm just gonna ignore the background noise. He's a little bit into the crazies right now. So we, you know, marathon in, then more and more miles. And while we were in it, what we kept saying was, just 5 more miles, just 5 more miles. It wasn't thinking of, let's run 50 miles, or we're gonna just think about 50 miles the whole time. No, it was just, what are the next 2 steps? What's the next 1 step? What are the next milestones that are immediately accomplishable? And for us, it was just, what are the next 5 miles? Let's make it the next 5 miles. So we made it to 40 miles. And by this time, it was late, and it was dark, and it was freaking cold. And if there's something about me, it's I cannot stand the cold. And so it's freezing, starving. At some point, my friend was lying on the floor in like fetal position. We were like, I think it's physically impossible to keep going. But we said, just 5 more miles, just 5 more miles. And so we got our layers on, went outside. This, I am not kidding about this. Because again, I can't do cold weather. And so we were looking for a really large space indoors where we could run around and get our miles. We didn't care if we looked silly. We just had a goal, and we were gonna, one way or another, we were gonna get there. We're gonna do this. So we run by Trader Joe's, and we're like, I wonder. So we run inside, and it was really small. So we like did 1 lap around Trader Joe's, and we're like, oh, that's not gonna work. So we exit through the parking lot, and when we saw the parking lot, we were like, oh, duh. And so we ran around the Trader Joe's parking lot for maybe an hour. And after an hour, I started thinking, my health, I'm like a health nut. I started thinking, all this smog is probably not a really good thing. It wasn't really ventilated. So I thought, can we find another bigger space? And so I thought, there's the gym at UC Berkeley. It's a huge space, and I'm sure they would let us in just to run around the basketball courts. So, you know, change of plans. The goal is still the same, but we've had a small pivot. So we run up to the RSF, that's what the gym is called, and we get there, and it's closed. Sometimes you hit roadblocks, and as long as you know where you're going and the goal that you're trying to accomplish, you can find a way. So we get there, it's closed, and then I think, okay, I went to UC Berkeley, go Bears. I went to UC Berkeley, I know what buildings are open. And so we find one of the buildings that I knew was gonna be open, and we run just down the hall, trying to get our miles. At this point, we have like 5 miles to go. The first 40 miles were exhausting, but the last 5 miles were just like the hardest 5 miles ever. And so we're running through the hallways of this building, trying to get our miles in, and I'm starving. And I no longer feel like I'm in a good mood. I don't want to be in a good mood. I'm done. I'm like done with this race. I'm exhausted. My feet hurt so much. I'm crying. I'm crying, and I say, I'm done. I don't think I can continue. And so we start making our way back to my place. And so that's about a little bit over a mile. And so we're getting some mileage in there. So we continue, and we are back, and we have 1 mile to go. That's it. And the other thing that had happened was my friend, his Fitbit said that we were done. But mine, which was more accurate, said we still had a mile to go. His said like, we are like we're like at 56 miles. And so there was a piece of integrity of knowing that we could go the easy way. And not that like running 50 miles is the easy thing at all. We could have cheated. We could have said, you know what, I throw in the towel. The Fitbit says we're at 56 miles, we're done. But I don't know about you, but integrity is huge for me, and I couldn't do that. So back here, there's like a mile to go. We've been running, we've been at it for like 18 hours. And we take a little break, and we know that there's just 1 mile to go. You know that image of the miner who's digging for gold or diamonds, and he gives up right about as he's going to get to his treasure. And I think so many times we do that. And so we have 1 mile to go, it's freezing, we're starving, exhausted. And so we get out there, and as painful as that last mile was, we finished. And so we finished together. And I think that's another point about doing hard things. If you can do hard things with other crazy people like you, who are willing to live life at a higher standard, who are willing to not settle, that just makes it so much easier. So we finished the race, we've earned our 50-mile medal, we are exhausted, but we know that we pushed through. And we know that we pushed past the points that our mind had deemed impossible, and it seemed impossible. Everything in my body at that point said, this is impossible, you must stop. But the point of this video, and why I want you to think about doing hard things in your life, is when you think it's impossible, when you think you've given everything you have, you still have more to give. You have more you to give, you have more energy. If you commit yourself to a goal, there is nothing that can keep you from that goal. If that means running around the parking lot of Trader Joe's, if that means running through the hallways of buildings at UC Berkeley, you will find a way. You can slow down, you can take a break, you can cry. I cried, I pouted, but you can find a way if you are committed. And when you push past that hard thing, on the other side, the reward is who you grew into during that journey, because it's always a journey. And so I encourage you to do more hard things in your life, because I can assure you that you will become even more proud of who you are, even more proud of how you're showing up in the world. You will learn, you will grow, you will become a better person, you will get to know yourself better, you'll get to know how it is that you react when things get tough, and you will know that no matter what life throws your way, you have it in you to persevere, and I absolutely know that that's the case. So my question to you is, what are you committing to right now? What is the hard thing that you've been putting off that you know if you did it could radically improve some aspect of your life? What are you committing to doing right now? And so I'm asking you to find one thing that you are committing to doing right now, and in the next 24 hours, today if it's still daylight when you're watching this video, I want you to do that thing before you fall asleep tonight. But if it's, if you're watching at like 9 p.m. and it's impossible, you have 24 hours to do that thing, and I want you to tell me what it was and how you felt after the fact of doing this thing that you thought was hard. And if you want to take it a step further, find yourself a really freaking hard goal for yourself for the year, and then share it with us. And go do that, and think and get excited about the person that you would have to become to do that hard thing. So I encourage all of you, do more hard things in your life. You will become a better, stronger, kinder person, and only good things can come from stepping outside of your comfort zone. Growth, progress does not happen from the comfort zone, and I am encouraging you right now to step outside of that comfort zone and become the fullest version of yourself, because I know that you have so much to give. All right, well, remember to subscribe to my channel. I have a lot more videos that you guys can watch, and I will catch you next time. Bye bye.